Hi guys, welcome to the third strategy session of board exam. So yesterday we were discussing all about how do we smart study in this limited time frame and how do we go about the 3 hours of exam. So this is the last strategy session of the entire strategy series from Meritnation. So I hope you're finding it useful. And today, basically, I'll take as many as I can, all your doubts today. It'll be more of an interactive session wherein I want you guys to ask whatever generic or specific doubts you have regarding the board exams. Also, I'll point out a few silly mistakes, silly errors that usually happen. What kind of errors are bound to happen, or we can try to minimize the errors by a few strategies. So, hi Gunjan Shah, hi Vijay Vardhan Reddy. I'm sure everyone is feeling the nervousness. You're all having butterflies in your stomach right now, and at the same time you are having a lot of expectations from yourself, not just you but your parents as well, your relatives, your friends. Everyone has expectations from you that you will come out of board exam with flying colors. So uh, let's have a interactive session and let's take up your doubts straight away. For all the users who has just joined us for this particular session, I would advise them to please watch the recording of the first two sessions which we have had. Also, I understand that of course we are having a lot of new users today, so I'll go through the marking scheme and little bit of the discussion on what kind of paper we can expect in our maths board exam this time. So Purna Chandrika is asking that basically which chapter can I start first? Purnima, I have already discussed this a lot many times that the chapter you should start first when you start your revision is basically your coordinate geometry, because coordinate geometry is one of the most easy and the most scoring chapters, right? Because it's got just three formulas, or rather I would say three subtopics, maybe you can say, that it has got distance formula. The questions based on that, either a 1 mark question is usually asked based on distance formula. It's got section formula, and lastly the area of triangle formula, the big sequential formula that you have. So you've got three formulas, so please practice at least two questions from all the three formulas and you'll be good to go in coordinate geometry. So always start your revision. Whenever you do that, the final phase of revision or your preparation, go for coordinate geometry because it will give you a lot of confidence boost. Ashwarya is asking about how to avoid errors in calculating. That's a very popular and a very I would say a common thing that everyone always faces, that we always in exam, in that phase, in that time pressure, we usually add 3 plus 3 as 9, or we write 2 square as 8 probably. So all these kind of errors, how to avoid that, we'll discuss in a while. Ashwarya, please be patient. Could you derive quadratic formula? Vijay Vardhan Reddy, today unfortunately I'm not going into that details, that how do we derive a quadratic formula. I can tell you the thought process, the logic behind it. You take the standard equation ax square plus bx plus c, right, and try to complete the square. As soon as you try to complete the square, you will get the quadratic formula based on the discriminant. Anshika Agarwal is asking whether the paper will come from NCERT. Yes, 80 to 90% of the paper will revolve around questions which are in your NCERT only, Anshika. So please make sure you are well versed with NCERT, in and out, you know each and every question. Also, guys, this reminds me that in the last session, some of you were asking that does the optional exercise come in the board exams? So yes, it comes. It definitely comes a question from optional exercises. So please make sure you practice the optional exercises instead of going for another reference book, probably let's say R.D. Sharma or any other reference book that you're referring to. go for optional exercise and make sure you do all the questions on your own from optional exercise, because it has been seen in 2016 that a question directly from miscellaneous, or rather the optional exercise, was asked. So make sure you are well versed with all the questions from the optional exercise. Please tell the plan in the math 6 preparatory days. I would say that there are not 6 preparatory days. Gunjan Shah is asking about the 6 preparatory days. I would say there are 5 actual preparatory days, because the SST exam, I guess, the social exam, science exams, you'll come by 1:30. The exam will get over on that day, and you have that kind of laid back attitude on, at least on that day, that okay, fine, now my maths exam is another 5 days away, so I'll try to just relax on that day. So on that day particularly, when you are having your social science exam, or the previous exam, whatever that may be for some of you, so try to, on that day, just go through the NCERT examples. Just lay down and go through you're reading an English novel. Just read the examples, right? Whichever examples you marked, probably a star or a tick you've marked for later on revision. So make sure you go through them, right? And also on that day, you could do a sample paper. On that day, particularly late in the evening, you could do a sample paper, right? That will again give you a very good build up for the coming 5 days of preparatory leave. And once you're preparatory leave, the next day, you can allot the 5 days as basically 3 chapters you can take. Or on the 4 days, take 3 chapters, probably take algebra unit on one day, take mensuration on one day, take trigonometry on one day, and in and out, do the NCERT exercises, right? NCERT exercises, try and do not just from the question number 1, because those are very, very basic questions. Start from the back, and also make sure you go through the examples again, right? So once your specific unit-wise preparation starts, so make sure you go through the NCERT very, very thoroughly, and all the notes you have prepared, right? All throughout the year, you've been studying, you've been taking down notes and all. So make sure you go through the notes, because that will give you a great idea as to what this chapter actually targets, what kind of formulas, what kind of theorems are there. And from that, that will give you a very good preparation for that. So Gunjan, I hope that's your target for 6 preparatory days. I would be discussing that in more detail afterwards. The last day, what to do. The last day is very important. Just before the exam, the 27th, we'll discuss that. Which are the important chapters? Rayan, please watch the recording of the last session. I had discussed that in detail. Important chapters, every chapter is important. You cannot leave anything. But I would say that the 3 chapters that are very, very important, very, very crucial, are surface area and volume. You will definitely get a major weightage, at least 8-10 marks straight away from that chapter. Also, your chapter on, I would say, arithmetic progressions, you are bound to get a few questions from that. And geometry. Geometry has been asked quite a lot in the past year board exams. So geometry is something that you can work upon. What is the best way to solve trigonometry questions? See, there are 2 kinds of trigonometry questions. One is based on just the formula, just the values. So for that, there is no best way. You just have to know the values of sine 30, cos 45, and just plug that and find the value. Or it is based on some identity, direct identity, as the value is being asked. That's a 1 mark or a 2 mark question. However, the proving kind of questions, the 3 or a 4 mark question, the long answer type, for that, please have a knack of converting everything into sine and cos, or either try to have that I for 1, that +1 or +2, try to write 1 as sine square theta plus cos square theta, or we had discussed last time also sec square theta minus tan square theta is also 1. So try to convert that into the constant, the 1 or 2 or 3, into your trigonometric functions. So that's also one of the good ways to do that. What to do final revision, that is before exams, that is 4 or 5 days. Tech freak how? I had already discussed that. Please make sure that you divide your 5 or 4 days, whatever days you have, into basically section wise. That today I will do algebra, I will take up arithmetic progressions, pair of linear equations, and polynomials. So today I'll do these 3 chapters in and out. Do every question of NCERT, because you've already done the questions of NCERT once, at least once. So you have a kind of you are comfortable with those questions, right? So once you do them again, one thing is your momentum will build. You'll gain some confidence, and also side by side you are practicing, right? You are not out of touch of all those questions. So you divide your preparatory leave into section wise, catering to different chapters. And also, please do not do a sample paper just 2 or 3 days before the board exam. Do not do a sample paper 2 or 3 days before exam, because that will kind of drain out your energy, drain out your curiosity for the questions. So don't do that. Make sure you settle for at least 3 days, no sample paper. I will just concentrate on NCERT, my notes, nothing else, right? So try to have a light day, last day especially. Try to not be packed with lot many questions, lot many syllabus you are left to cover. Don't do that. Just stay positive and confident on the last day. Then we have got nobody noob is asking that, is the optional exercise for surface area important? Nobody noob, I would like to advise this from the past experience, that especially for surface area and volume, you will get a direct question from NCERT, right? There is a very high probability that you will get a direct question without the values being changed, exact question being asked. So make sure you do the back exercises of surface area and volume. At least the last part of the exercise, the frustum one or the combination of solids, do that. That will be really benefit you. And what else? Okay, so we have another question coming up. How to overcome the fear of too much calculation? So Rajit, the fear of calculation only arises when you are not prepared, you are not confident about the concepts, you are not confident about your own calculations, you don't have faith in your calculation. So both of these things can be solved by practicing, right? Now is the time to actually do. Now is the time to practice as much as you can, right? Study 8-10 hours a day, right? And practice as many questions as you can. Automatically, the fear of exam, the fear of calculation will go away. Siddharth Singh is asking, sir, please tell the presentation tips for maths paper. See, Siddharth Singh, one thing is that you should keep your presentation uniform all across the board exam, right? That for the 3 hours, you should have the same handwriting, the same presentation, what you would say about how to tackle the questions. So for section A and section B specifically, you should just target either 1 line or maybe 2 lines if it's really tricky question. So you can write down the formula and then the answer directly, right? You don't have to mention anything else apart from that for section A and section B, because these are just 1 or 2 mark questions, and you can just write down question number 1. Start, probably it's a question of, let's say a quadratic equation in which it's asking that for the roots to be equal, find the value of k, right? So you just write down the d equal to 0, bracket, roots are equal, and then solve the equation for d equal to 0, find the value of k. That's it, right? So it'll probably take 3-4 lines, right? 3-4 steps, and you'll be done with in probably 1 minute or 2 minutes, right? So you don't have to indulge into lot much explanation in section A and section B. However, in section C and D, try not to skip steps, right? Your sole idea of section C and D is it's a long answer type. They're asking you, inviting you to write what all you know about that question, right? So make sure you devote your time, ample amount of time for section C and D, and you have a uniform writing, uniform presentation all throughout the exam, right? Next, Dharini says, good evening. Good evening, Dharini. Vijay Vardhan Reddy says, hello, sir. I know how to make out the answer in probability, but don't know how to present an answer based on probability. Please, can you solve a question based on probability with explained steps? All right, Vijay Vardhan Reddy, let's take up a question. Guys, I'm taking one doubt. Please be patient. Vijay Vardhan Reddy, your doubt is basically how do I present my answer in probability, right? How do I create an event and write down the probability of the favorable outcome? So for that, I would say advise you that please watch, or rather go through the examples of NCERT, what all they are writing. That, for example, the question comes up, uh, what is the probability of 52 Sundays in a leap year, right? So how will you go about that? So first of all, you have to, whatever comes to your mind, the logic, you know, already know the answer, right, Vijay? So you already know the answer. So make sure that you just elaborate that, put your thoughts into writing that, okay, so there are 366 days in total in a leap year. Dividing it by 7 gives us 52 weeks and so days. So 52 weeks will have 52 Sundays or Mondays, whatever is being asked in the question. And then just write down that it is bound to happen that there will be 52 Sundays in a leap year. There is no possibility of not having 52 Sundays. So hence the probability is 1. Or you can write down mathematically that the probability P bracket 52 Sundays in a leap year is basically 1. So that's how you can represent. Also go through the NCERT examples, please. Vijay Krishna Avasti says previous year question paper of which year? Yeah, very, very important and a good question, Krishna Avasti. So Krishna is basically asking that from which year or which year onwards we should take up the previous year question papers. Guys, this is a very, very important thing. Please listen to this carefully. That make sure you go through the board exam papers or previous year papers of from 2005 to 2010. Before 2010, any year before 2010, right? From 2000 to 2010, preferably. The 10 sample papers from 2000 to 2010, make sure you do that, because in those years, the board exam was mandatory, like this year, right? It is mandatory for all. However, post 2010, post 2011, actually, it became an optional sort of exam, and it was not that kind of board exam which used to happen, but it's happening after 7 years, right? It's happening after a gap of 7 years. So make sure that you go through the board exam papers from 2000 and 2010. I hope that addresses your doubt, Krishna. What is the best way to solve questions based on Pythagoras theorem from triangle, Sandeep? The best way is basically identify the hypotenuse and then accordingly work in the similarity, right? So once you identify the hypotenuse, the right angle, and then try to find the two similar right angle triangles, and then apply accordingly. Sakshi is asking how to deal with trigonometric identities. Sakshi, you are in 10th standard right now, and you have hardly 3 identities. Sine square theta plus cos square theta is 1. 1 plus tan square theta is sec square theta, and the third one. So you're having very limited identities. And right now, I understand that you are having a problem in this. But once you move to 11th standard, and hopefully you'll take maths, then you'll have at least 50 identities to work with, right? So try to build up that temperament, right? I'm not saying that learn all those 50 identities. All I'm saying is that just 3 identities are there, right? It's all about the perspective that you are taking into while preparing the chapter. So make sure you think, okay, fine, this is not a very difficult chapter. I can do those 3 identities and the questions based on them, right? And practice as much as you can. Sir, what should I do to stay calm one day before the exam, even though I know I have prepared well? Shivam Ajmera is asking how to stay calm the day before the exam. See, personally, from my personal experience, I would like to point out that, see, one thing to you can do to stay calm is probably watch a nice, happy, positive movie, or probably watch a match if you are into cricket, sports, etc. Or you can go out to play. That's also a very nice activity, because that will divert your mind towards what's going to happen tomorrow, right? Because all the preparation is done. You cannot prepare on the last moment at the last day. So make sure that you indulge into any light sort of mood exercise that will lift up your spirits, and you will be all confident and raring to go, right, Shivam? Do not panic. Do not take the pressure of a maths board exam tomorrow. I have not prepared that much. Forget about it, because in those 3 hours, what you execute based on your knowledge, that's what matters in the end. So make sure, Shivam, that you are more uh, not thinking about the exam the next day, but you're thinking about life as such, right? Just enjoy with your family, have good food, and be ready for the exam. Make sure you have your pencil box or the whatever pens you will be carrying and your roll number, everything intact, right? Are trigonometry proofs important, Purna? See, everything is important. You cannot ignore anything, but usually trigonometric proofs are not asked, right? The proofs of theorem, as I discussed, the Pythagoras theorem proof, BPT proof, that they are more likely to be asked. You'll get a question of basically a trigonometric equation will be given, and you'll have to prove that. That's where the usually the questions are asked from. So try to do that. If we completed the NCERT and the sample papers, which book we have to refer examples from, which books are? All right, John Cater, if you're done with NCERT, if you're done with sample papers, if you've got good marks in pre-boards, everything is all fine, probably you can go for R.D. Sharma, the latter part of the chapters, right? That basically wherein they really intensify the problems. You can do that. Also, you can go for sample papers, not just the previous year papers, but sample papers from wherever you can get hold of. ULike has a very nice collection of sample papers. So try and do the sample papers from ULike. How to perform long calculation fast? Vishwa Vijay. Vishwa Vijay, I had discussed this last time also, that the best way to perform long calculations fast is not understanding Vedic maths. It's about taking the calculations to the last step. Avoid doing the calculations in every step. Just incorporate all the variables, try to plug those values, and then take it in the last step. Automatically, things will cancel out, right? And it will become a very nice step in which you can, everything will cancel out and you'll have a very less calculation. So the only way to avoid or to perform long calculations fast is avoid long calculations. Avoid doing complex calculations. Keep it simple. How to know the question is of AP quadratic equation or linear equation? Dinusha, that's a very basic question. You are asking basically, how do we identify the question is of AP quadratic equation or linear equation? I would advise you that once you are going through these chapters, you identify the questions, right? You try to go through the language of the questions. For example, in AP, it will be usually find the sum of the last term, or it will be like a word problem is given in which consecutive interval addition is there, or a linear equation will have to be formed. So I try and identify based on the question. So go through the NCERT for that. Deepa is asking that, can you please tell me the most important theorems? See, for the most important theorems, they are basically, you've got 5-6 theorems in total. They're like circles as the RHS, no, not the RHS, the proving that the tangents drawn from an external point, they are equal. That's basically your very, very popular theorem. Then we have got the radius is perpendicular to the tangent at the point of contact. That's a very popular theorem. Then it's converse. Then we've got the Pythagoras theorem. In triangles, we've got the Pythagoras theorem in which you draw two triangles and apply the similarity. It's converse, Pythagoras theorem converse. And lastly, I would say the basic proportionality theorem. That's also something that is usually asked. So these are all about the theorems from geometry. Can you please tell me how much marks can be asked from surface area and volume apart from areas? Okay, for that, I'll just go to this slide. See, mensuration has total of 10, right? Marks given to it. So you're asking basically the bifurcation of areas related to circles and surface area volume. I would say areas related to circle will be like 40%, 60% will be surface area volume. So it's like 4 marks and 6 marks, right? Or it could be that it's 3 and 7, right? There's no as such bifurcation. But yeah, usually one question of areas related to circles, either a 3 or a 4 mark question, and the rest of surface area volume, right? So Ashwarya, that's it. D Gamer is asking, should we start our exam with section D? D Gamer, as your username also points out, it's D Gamer. So it's starting with a D. If you feel like you want to start with section D, go for it. I would advise you that once you're giving a sample paper or a mock paper, that experiment with your strategy. Go with section A once, go with section D once, and whichever suits you better, whichever you feel comfortable in more, you can apply that, right? My personal strategy would be start from section A, B, C, and D, right? Because as I mentioned it a lot many times, section A and B is treated as one section. Please treat it as one section, one very, very light section in which we'll finish as quickly as possible. Then we'll try to maximize on section C, because section C is the section that will determine how your exam goes. Please understand that section C has got 10 marks, 10 questions of 3 marks. That's going to determine how you feel about the paper. Is it difficult? Is it lengthy? Is it a piece of cake? That will all depend on section C. So section C is your determining section. I would say, yes, section D, of course, is important because you've got the long answer type. So you can start from that also. It's totally a personal judgment that you have to take. Please tell how to score good marks in geometry. Jagdish, for geometry, Jagdish, try and concentrate only on NCERT, right? For geometry especially, do not go for anything apart from NCERT. Just stick to NCERT, do all the questions, have a glance at all the examples, you will be good to go. Purna is asking some ideas about AP, in which we take A+1, A+2. Purnima, just try to go through the recordings if you are a registered users. We have discussed in detail in the study material as well in the classes that how do we take 3 terms in AP, how do we take 4 terms in AP. You can refer R.D. Sharma as well. It's got a nice explanation for that. Hi, Mackenzie Cardozo. Nice username you got. Ayush Yadav is asking that I'm very weak in trigonometry and arithmetic progression. Please give me a suggestion. Ayush Yadav, if you can, please watch the recording of the first session. In that, I had discussed some applications of trigonometry, the heights and distances part, in detail by the 2 triangle method. You can only get just questions based on 2 triangles, guys. Please understand this, that all the questions of heights and distances is all about just 2 questions, or all about just 2 triangles. One is a triangle is probably like this. The another one is something like this. That's basically that we've got 90, 45, 45 triangle, or we can have 90, 30, and 60 triangle. I just misplaced the angle. This will be 60 and this will be 30. Right? These are the 2 triangles possible in your heights and distances. Nothing else. You just have to work with these 2 triangles in heights and distances. All the questions revolve about these 2 triangles. Please watch the recording of the first session. I'm not elaborating this, how these 2 triangles, drawing these 2 triangles will help you. But yeah, it'll be really beneficial if you do that. Watch the recording, okay? What is the most important text for preparing for which of the most questions come from? I'm ignoring that. True makers, I cannot make out what your doubt is. Fazil Khan is asking, so from where we can practice extra NCERT questions? Exemplar, Fazil Khan, if you can get hold of. Exemplar is a nice collection of questions. Also, guys, for practicing extra questions apart from NCERT, please do sign up on that link that has been provided in the description. Either on you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook. It's being in the comments also. It's being coming again and again. The link for basically the top 100 questions, you will get it by tonight, right? Let's say you sign up just right now, right? Probably after the session or right now. As soon as you give the email ID, you will get a PDF through an automated mailing system by tonight. 100 questions, which are very likely to come in your board exams because of the fact that they are prepared from our renowned faculty over here and the content development team. So please go through those 100 questions, get a hold of that PDF. They are with the solutions, so that will help you a lot. That will help you immensely. So make sure you please get a hold of those 100 questions of MN. That's where the link is. Please do sign up for that. Which section questions we should solve first? I've already discussed this, that which section you should take first. My personal opinion is start from the question number 1, end it with question number 30. If you are stuck with any question you're not able to solve, leave space, ample amount of space for that question, move on. Please guys, there will be speed breakers in your question paper. Please understand that after 3 4 1 mark questions, very sitters, very simple questions, you will have a speed breaker sort of question which will test your thinking ability, which will test your logical ability as well. So please make sure you are aware of the speed breakers. You do not get stuck in that question, devote 10 minutes and you're not able to solve, and then you realize, oh my god, it was like a speed breaker, I should have avoided it in the first place. Now you panic, right? So please don't do that. Try to have a macroscopic view of the question paper during the reading time, right? During the reading time is basically allocated for you to have an idea about how the question paper is, what kind of questions are for you to solve first. You can really boost your confidence and the momentum once you utilize the reading section very well. Sagar Goswami says, awesome, sir. All right. I know it's a silly quest. Can we play a game instead of a movie? Of course, Devjot, you can play a game. And I would really, if I was in your situation, I would, of course, go for the game, either a PC game or an outside sports activity. Personally, I believe movies are boring, right? Especially when you've got an exam tomorrow. So I need some adrenaline rush to match with what is going to happen tomorrow, right? If I'm talking about the 27th of March, please give some tricks to learn formulas of frustum. Gunjan Shah, how to learn the formulas of frustum? Go through the derivation. That's the only way. Go through the derivation, take a nice notebook, very nice pen, probably a red gel pen, which actually gives you a nice outlook to the frustum. Write down very neatly labeling of all the slant height, radius, height of the frustum, and then what exactly the derivation is there in NCERT probably or R.D. Sharma. Replicate that in your own handwriting, in your own way, to get a hold of all those formulas of frustum, right? That's the only way and the most beneficial way to learn the formulas. My questions are not going to, sir. All silly questions are going. I'm really sad. I'm also sad, Moin Sayyed, that I would not able to address your doubt. Please ask your doubt instead of moaning on the fact that your doubts are not being answered. Moin Sayyed, I'm looking forward to your doubt in a while. All right, Bibu Tata is asking if NCERT is all clear, can we get good marks? Bibu Tata, why not? Absolutely. You should have that confidence that you have prepared for an entire year and you've done all the NCERT questions. You have understood the concept very well. Now it's all about the application of whatever you have studied, right? Because ultimately you have to execute in those 3 hours. So have faith in yourself. Just believe in yourself. Do not take stress and you will be good to go. Will section C be very difficult? Bibu Tata, absolutely not. Section C, all I'm saying is your determining factor. That will determine how your exam will go, right? So make sure that you do not become overconfident by doing section A and B first, because section A and B, usually it is seen, guys, that they are very easy to cater to, right? They are very easy sections. You usually get over by those two sections in around about 45 to 1 hour, 45 minutes to 1 hour. So you tend to have that kind of feel good moment that, okay, my 2 sections are done. But please understand that those 2 sections are actually carrying a weightage of 18 marks, just 18 marks. So make sure that you have that mental aptitude that your exam is going to start from section C onwards, right? That's going to determine how well you do in exam. So section C and D are your make and break sections. Section A and B, of course, are your a very important section. You cannot ignore that. For especially people who are scoring above 70, you don't want to lose out on 1 question, 1 mark, right? So all I'm saying is do not panic if you're not able to do the question, and also do not be overconfident that your 2 sections, section A and B, are done. Prakhar Agarwal says, thanks, Meritnation. I wish you all the best, Prakhar. It's your all hard work, your all the grilling you have been doing for the past 1 year or so, all the hard work, all the efforts that you've been putting it, not just you, your parents as well, that is going to reap the benefits, reap the results in the next month. Statistics is a nightmare how to get hold of it. See, statistics has got just 3-4 formulas. Make sure that you are good in calculations, you get good in calculations. That's number one. That's if you are good in calculations, statistics automatically becomes easy for you, because it's all about those formulas and applying the values into it, plugging those values into it. Let's say you've got a formula in which 4 variables are there, 3 variables value will be given, and just 1 you will have to put, right? So you can find that. Sana Khan is saying, please give the importance of trigonometry. See, Sana, trigonometry is very important. Of course, it's carried a fair amount of weightage. I cannot give you the importance of trigonometry. All I can I cannot emphasize on that. All I can emphasize on is that please apply the 2 triangle method. How do you apply the 2 triangle method, which I have discussed in the previous first session of the strategy series, is that by the 2 triangle method, you will get the answer very fast, right? You will get the answer very quickly, right? Because calculations become very easy. You don't have to take a variable. You don't have to solve too much. So you will get the answer very fast. But it's a board exam. They want you to write explicitly all these steps, all the working they want you to show. So once you know the answer in the back of the mind, you have solved it in your rough column probably, it becomes very easy to elaborate the steps, right? So that's why the 2 triangle method works in heights and distances. So try to have a glance at that of the first session. Darun says, Meritnation, you mean 70% or 70 marks in exam? 70 marks. I'm saying for all those people who have got 70 marks in your pre-boards, or you're expecting at least 70 marks in your maths board exam, for all those people, you cannot miss out on the one mark or the 2 mark questions. They are also important for you guys, right? So lastly, I will just discuss 3-4 things, guys, that I believe are very, very important from your maths board exam point of view. They are basically that, just a second. See, guys, you're having roundabout to say, I will say 3 to 4 types of errors that you are bound to do in exam, right? What are those errors? One is the very popular silly errors, right? Silly errors could be like, okay, let me give you an example. Is everyone with me right now? Let me give you an example of silly errors or a language error which you can make while reading the question. For example, I'd say that, let's say there are 3 numbers, A, B, and C, right? Everybody is with me right now, I hope. A, B, C, there are 3 numbers. A is given, A is an even integer. A is an even integer. What will be the product ABC? What will be the nature of the product of ABC? Will it be even? Will it be odd? Will it be natural number, whole number? If it is given, A is an even integer. If it is given, A is an even integer, then what will be the product ABC? That's the basic question. What kind of product? Will it be even? Will it be odd? Will it be natural number, whole number, fraction? What kind of number will that will be? If A is an even integer. So even, everybody believes that the product ABC will be even if A is an even integer. A is given to you an even integer. What will be the product ABC? That's what is being asked, right? So one answer that we are getting is even. One answer that we are getting is odd. Another one even. So we've got 2 votes for even, right? So in that, what I just want to ask you guys is that what the question is. Please understand the question very carefully. Question says A is an even integer and ABC, you have to find whether it's even, odd, natural number, or odd number. What is it, right? That's it. So what it'll be, you have to have I would say a macroscopic point of view for this question. You have to take in all the possibilities. It is not saying, Gunjan, that B is odd or B is even. It is not saying B and C are integers. It can be anything. I can have A to be an even integer like 2, it being multiplied. B could be a fraction. B could be a fraction like 1/4, and then it is multiplied with c, that is root 3. So your number is an irrational number. It could be an irrational number as well. Why are you saying it will be an even and odd only? I only mentioned in the question was a is an even integer. What will be the nature of ABC? If a is an even integer, what will be the nature of ABC? Now, ABC nature could be anything. It could be an irrational number, rational number, uh, I would say a fraction, an even integer, an odd number, anything it could be. So please be aware. Please have your mind open to all these kind of things, because the HOTS are usually roundabout, twisted and targeted on this concept that you have to have an open mind to all kinds of numbers, right? So your answer will be, of course, root 3 by 2 over here. And root 3 by 2 is, of course, not even number. Right? So have an open mind of view. Yes, very, very important thing that we were discussing about the mistakes or the errors that are bound to happen are your calculation mistake. How to avoid calculation mistake? I have told this plenty of times. Please take your calculations till the last step, then do the calculations. And once you're doing the calculations, check it side by side. Do not wait for, I'll come for revision at the end of my exam. When I'm done with all the questions, I'll come back and revise, because that's not revision. That's your basic double check you are doing on all the questions. You have not, probably you have missed out a question or something like that, right? Calculations, please recheck side by side. All right. Next thing is, you tend to read a question and then you tend to assume something. Like over here, you assumed B and C to be integers, which was not the case. B and C, nobody told you anything. So do not assume extra information from the question. If you've done a similar sort of question in your practice, yes, it is similar, but it will have a twist. It might have a twist. It might have a values changed. It might have a different scenario altogether. You're not able to identify that. So please reread the question. Do not be overconfident while reading the question, or do not start solving by intuition, just like that. So we've covered two errors: calculation errors, interpretation errors that you can do while reading the question. The third one is conceptual error. Conceptual error is basically that you know the concept, but you applied it wrong. For example, a popular example could be like, you've got a hollow cylinder. Everyone can imagine a hollow cylinder, right? Like a pencil stand, probably. It is being asked, find the surface area of that pencil stand, of that hollow cylinder. So you will not just take the outer curved surface area, you'll have to take the inner curved surface area as well. You will have to take into account the inner curved surface area. Do not forget that, right? That's something like a conceptual error. You know the concept of surface area. Everybody can solve that, but still only half of or 60% of you are getting it right, because you're not taking the inner surface area, right? It's a hollow hemisphere or a hollow cylinder. So please take that into account, guys, right? Do not be in a rush while solving the questions, right? So please tell how to prevent question of cross multiplication method in two variables. Sajiri SV, go through the concept of cross multiplication. It's a very easy concept, probably through NCERT once, and then practice 5-6 questions. You will get the concept. How to present the question of cross multiplication is, please see the steps. That first you have to formulate the equation, then basically write down the cross multiplication subtraction, x, y, 1 in the denominators, the respective products, and then find the answer. How much time should I give max for a speed breaker? See, Shivam, that's a very nice question. That basically it's all about decision making. Let's say there are 10 minutes left for the exam to get over. You're not able to get a question. Let's say there are 20 minutes, let's take, right? And you have got a speed breaker, or you've got a question that really boggles you. You're stuck. You're not able to solve anything, and you're panicking, right? Nothing is striking you in that question, and you still have 3 questions more, right? So what I would advise you, that probably give it a minute or 2 minutes. If you're still not able to crack it, if you're still not able to get it, probably what you can do is that go to the next 3 questions that you have to solve. Solve those 3 questions, solve whatever the remaining part of the paper is left. After that, if you get time, because you will get time because you avoided the speed breaker by just giving it 1 minute, right? After whatever time you have left, after completing the paper, come back to it, because then you will have a fresh mind altogether, right? You'll again be revisiting that, right, with a new outlook probably, and then you can crack it. Who knows, right? So in a way, you are first of all playing it safe by doing all the questions you can, and then coming to those speed breakers, right? I hope you're getting this, everyone, right? What is the answer of this ABC question? The answer, Karthik, is anything is possible. Just like a board exam, anything is possible. I have not mentioned B and C are integers. It can be anything, right? So A is an even integer, but B and C could be anything. Hence, the product could be anything. Formula for circumference of semicircle. Formula for semicircular arc. All right, Jasmine. See, for a semicircle, circle has got a perimeter of 2 pi r. So semicircle arc has a formula of pi r. And then semicircle, however, if somebody asks you semicircle's perimeter, that will be pi r plus 2r. Why? Because of the fact that we are dealing with this guy is pi r. That's the curved portion. But over here, we've got the diameter as well. So we'll have to add the 2r. This is the formula for semicircle's perimeter. And that's for semicircular arc, pi r. Optional questions are not from examination point of view. So should I practice them? Yes, absolutely, Sachin. You should practice them. Definitely. There is no question about that. You should practice them. NCERT is enough for 2018. Of course. All right. So I'm sure everyone is all set for today's exam, for this board season, and you've practiced a lot throughout the year. Guys, Meritnation is awesome. All right. Okay. So guys, we've got a surprise planned up for you guys. We've got the very renowned faculty of Meritnation with us for you guys live for the first time. And so here is the surprise, guys. Let me just roll down the camera. And we've got every one of you wishing you all the best from the Meritnation side.
Hi, guys.
So
good luck.
This is our Meritnation team.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, guys. Recording is paused. Red वाला.
मैंने कुछ नहीं किया.
विधानसभा में जाएगी बात, दिल्ली तक जाएगी. दिल्ली में कहीं
Hi, guys. I hope you are prepared well. There are a couple of things which I want to say. First thing, this board is not your ultimate exam. This is just the beginning. This is an opportunity for you. So go with a positive attitude. And I'm quite sure you all will do very good. All the best.
And do take a proper sleep of 7 to 8 hours. Don't take a lot of stress. And all the best, guys.
Yeah.
Before starting your questions, before starting solution, have a deep breathe, take water, then start. Be cool.
Solve previous year papers for sure, because that is the key to success. Don't take stress. Believe in yourself, please.
Exactly.
Okay, guys.
All right, guys. So all the best, everyone. This is all the best to you guys from Meritnation team. Right? Hope you do well all. This is Jadip, sir. I guess you've been taking classes all along throughout the year. So all the best, guys.
Good luck. Good luck. Have fun.
Good luck, everyone.
Good luck.
And this is us signing off.
Thank you.